Limousine, station wagon, coupe and an SUV all packed into one car. Is that even possible? BMW claims it is. This is BMW 6 Series Gran Turismo, the successor to 5 Series Gran Turismo. Going up one number is a result of BMW changing its naming scheme. Odd numbers are for limousines, station wagons and SUVs, while even numbers are for coupe versions. At least they are called coupes if frameless windows and a falling roofline is enough to meet the criteria. Of course, when you have around 30 models in the range, there are going to be some hiccups. For example, 2 Series Active Tourer is in fact a minivan. And then there is 3 Series Gran Turismo, but 4 Series Gran Coupe. This is probably going to get fixed once the new 3 Series is launched. Now, in the larger series, we have 6 Gran Turismo, which is this one, and 6 Gran Coupe. And now it gets complicated because BMW 6 Series Gran Turismo costs slightly more than BMW 5 Series, but it's about the same size as the 7 Series. Both 6 GT and 7 Series have the same wheelbase. On the other hand, we have 6 Series Gran Coupe, which has shorter wheelbase but has more powerful engines and costs almost as much as a 7 Series. And one more thing, 6 GT has the biggest boot volume out of the 4 cars to the window line and with back seats folded. I'm talking bigger than 5 Series Touring. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the office in which BMW designers assembled and tried to make sense of it all, so that then they could present it to the management. Only a German can do this sober. So, now that you know more or less what BMW 6 Series Gran Turismo is, it's worth taking a look back at its predecessor and the goals designers wanted to meet. The brief was to create a limousine, which would also be an SUV and a station wagon. 5 Series Gran Turismo even had a double boot lid mechanism, like 2008 Skoda Superb. And yes, Skoda had it first. You could open the boot like a sedan or like a liftback, depending on the luggage size or weather. Both Skoda and BMW gave up on it, as dual hinge mechanism was neither cheap nor particularly reliable nor light. And with car companies these days trying to cut every unnecessary gram of CO2, it's best to lose extra kilograms, especially if clients aren't crazy about something. A liftback lid surely helped 6 GT save some kilograms. Now, this car is actually on average 150 kilograms lighter than the model it replaces. BMW also worked on aerodynamics. At higher speeds, grille closes, models equipped with optional air suspension drop 10 mm, and 6 GT on its own is 20 mm lower than 5 GT. The rear is 60 mm lower. This means drag coefficient dropped from 0.29 in 5 GT to 0.26 in 6 GT. What does it mean for you, the owner of a 6 Series GT? This here is a 630D X-Drive, which means a 3-liter 265 horsepower diesel with all-wheel drive. It does 0 to 100 km per hour in 6 seconds flat and uses, BMW claims, 5.5 liters per 100 kilometers combined. I drove this car for about 1,000 kilometers, mainly on motorways, but there were also some cities with heavy traffic, and the result at the end of the journey was 7.6 liters per 100 kilometers. Sure, it's 2 liters more than BMW promises, but I don't expect a 2-ton car with a 3-liter engine to use less than 6 liters. Come on, I mean, even I know that, and BMW, they also know that. Motorways and dual carriageways are a good place to test some of the safety systems BMW 6 Series Gran Turismo has. There is adaptive cruise control, which works up to 210 km per hour. With active lane assist, you can let go of the steering wheel for a few seconds. I wondered whether I could cheat the system with a bottle of water, but I think there are touch sensors on the steering wheel. Hold one finger against the back and the system thinks you're holding the steering wheel. Now, don't try this. I'm a professional idiot and I did it for you. At legal motorway speeds, 6 GT is relatively quiet thanks to acoustic windows. Wind noise around the wing mirrors becomes apparent when you're going much faster, so set your cruise control to 130 km per hour and enjoy the comfy ride. You're going to get there almost as fast, but save yourself some money too.
BMW 6 GT handles like a limousine. It's high, long and heavy, so there is some body roll when you're on B roads. If you're planning to drive a lot on such roads, consider choosing X-Drive as it improves stability.
But in the back it's like sitting in a last row on an airplane. If the driver is not gentle, it's like a roller coaster ride back here. So if you want to do any work, do so in traffic or on the motorway. You can also specify this infotainment system with 2 screens, which, well, I don't know what they're for really. You can program the sat-nav, you can read your messages as if you couldn't do that from your phone. You can watch TV, okay, theoretically, unless you have a tablet and you want to watch your own stuff. Who watches TV these days? This is YouTube, people. So anyway, I think it's actually cheaper to ask the driver to change the radio station for you. You will also have the opportunity to see if the driver hasn't fallen asleep in these optional comfortable seats. Does this mean that the standard seats are uncomfortable?
In the front you can have a massage, but in the back all you can do is change backrest angle. Do I really need to buy a 7 Series to be able to move the passenger seat forward?
Legroom and headroom are generous, unsurprisingly, of course. There is some storage here under the armrest, and there are a couple of very loud cup holders. Sorry for the sound. Opening is not a problem, closing them is. Now the driver is awake. There are automatic blinds. There we go. I think I could get used to this.
This may not be a 7 Series, but 6 Series Gran Turismo is big enough to make maneuvering a challenge, especially when you need to make a 90 degrees turn in a tight spot, like to get a parking ticket. Yes, there is a 360-degree camera, but you can't change the laws of physics, and turning in an over 5-meter long car is just difficult. If you need to get in and out of a tight spot, there is remote parking assistant. Unfortunately, it works only back and forth. Mercedes will also do perpendicular parking, and you don't need a key the size of a mobile phone because Mercedes has a smartphone app for that. In the front, there is a digital instrument cluster, but it's rounded to make it look like classic dials. Going digital means, for example, in Eco Pro mode, you get to see additional data, like how long you coasted for. I coasted for about 8% of my total mileage. Eco Pro also suggests you take your foot off the gas as you're approaching city limits or a speed sign. Climate control panel is operated by touch, but you don't get haptic feedback like you would in an Audi, so you have to take your eyes off the road. I don't like the induction charger for the key is placed behind the cup holders. I'd like to use it for my phone, wallet, but with drinks and cup holders, it's hard to reach, so you're left with storage under the armrest. As I said earlier, the boot is huge. It's got 610 liters to the window line in 5-seat configuration and 1800 liters total cargo space with the back seats folded. The parcel shelf goes under the floor. BMW 6 Series Gran Turismo prices start at around €62,000 for a rear-wheel drive 2-liter petrol engine, good for a hotel limousine. A 340 horsepower petrol or a 320 horsepower diesel seems excessive in this car, so a 265 horsepower diesel is a wise choice, but get ready to spend some money. This luxury line 630D X-Drive with options costs around Better sit down. 115 grand.
This is not a price you can justify easily, but look at it this way. 6 Series Gran Turismo merges several cars into one pretty good product.
Would you like an expensive Swiss Army knife of a car like this, or maybe you'd rather own a limousine, a station wagon, a coupe and an SUV separately? You'd need quite a big garage and a lot of money. Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends who may find it relevant. New episodes every Friday. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.